Bomb investigation is very dangerous. You have to on your P's and Q's. When dealing with any such past explosion, the bomb squad should be the first department on the scene. Then after they give the all clear, you as the investigator will be able to go in. Many chemicals, dangerous substances, and fragments may be left at the scene, some of which may be exposed to radioactive material. Waiting to interbomb the scene is a suggestion. The procedures of bomb scene investigation start with the collection of fragments left on the crime scene. Looking for an explosive device is a tedious job. Some of the fragments you might want to look for are piping, cables, blasting caps, wads such as C4, dynamite, and TNT. In some cases, you may find gunpowder as an igniter for bombs. An explosion, or point of impact, will most commonly be in the area that has the most destruction. You will find a black bang residue on the ground that leaves a clear open area where the exploding device, bomb, or peripheral was placed. Finding residue is important to solving the case because once the fragments and residue are found, you can analyze what type of explosive device the asylum used. Military weapons of mass destruction can be mortar rounds, sheet explosives, 40mm rounds with white phosphorus, and other remote and timing devices found on the scene. Try to identify the military round by its nomenclature and DODIC, Department of Defense Identification Code. The DODIC may be present on the fragments and able to be traced to a weapon. References: forensics, bomb attacks. When you think about terrorist attacks using bombs, a number of attacks come into mind, that being the USS Cole. October 12, 2000, the African embassy bombing of 1998, Parris France train attack of 1996, and Tim McVeigh and the Oklahoma bombings in 1995. It is always a tragedy when one person's disagreements affect other people, especially innocent people that only wish to live normal everyday lives. See the Oklahoma bombing of the World Trade Building. Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, located in downtown Oklahoma City, left 168 people dead. The bomb was felt 30 miles away, leveling the Alfred Murrah Federal Building and damaging at least 300 other buildings. Reported seismograph activity at Oklahoma State University distinguished more than one blast. Pentagon officials reported 5 separate blasts. The FBI, CIA, and ATF Joint Task Force members were assigned to the Oklahoma bombing case by President Clinton that involved over 1,200 helpers to recover and clean up. On April 19, 1995, 9:02 a.m., Timothy McVeigh, accomplished by Terry Nichols, maneuvered a Ryder truck to the parking lot of the World Trade Building. Little to the officials' knowledge, there were 5,000 pounds of explosives in the 20-foot truck. It was filled with ammonium nitrate and fertilizer that are a very dangerous combination when you have an igniter, such as PTN, with an improvised timed detonation device hooked to the vehicle's gas tank. Timothy McVeigh was caught an hour and a half later driving a 1977 Mercury Marquis with no license plate. He was eventually arrested for illegal transport of a loaded firearm. After checking the Ryder van rental agreement, officials found that Timothy McVeigh was the one responsible for the Ryder van and subsequent building of the bomb. Investigators found McVeigh's fingerprint on a receipt that was for 2,000 pounds of ammonium nitrate. McVeigh was later sentenced to lethal injection and was executed on June 11, 2001. Many people were disappointed about the Oklahoma bombing because we pay millions in tax dollars every year. The ATF and FBI should be able to prevent terrorist acts from occurring in the United States. Homefront attacks are a major issue because once they have been initiated, they are almost impossible to counter. This means that we need to use preventive measures to capture suspects before they commit a terrorist acts. Using surveillance and having security in place to stop high-threat situations is mostly the way our new culture is leaning. Using the Homeland Security Division of the government to combat internet, building, and top-secret vulnerabilities helps in the fight against terrorism. Some of the vulnerabilities due to terrorism are located overseas. Surveillance must be extended to overseas to stop the threat of terror by putting pressure on the overseas units. This again keeps the terrorist from being able to plan attacks. Other operations in the Middle East are to solve terrorism by going directly after the source. The Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines have been fighting the war on terror for nearly 22 years now. America has been the fight against terror ever since the September 11, 2001 World Trade Center Twin Tower destruction took place in New York City that left more than 3,000 people dead. The asylum bin Laden took the credit for the worst destruction in United States history. This leads us to believe that after Timothy McVeigh's demonstration, the United States still did not prepare itself for any type of destructive attack on our own ground. After 6 years, our response became reactive instead of proactive. Getting rid of the financiers of terror has been a growing issue. Subsidiary corporations, small countries overseas that finance terrorist acts have to be brought to the media and used as the examples of what happens when you mix business with terror. Some of the issues are keeping the dangerous radioactive material away from the wrong hands, making sure the Green Peace Corps is able to keep a tag on materials that have potential destructive power, such as plutonium, and radioactive sludge from power plants, making sure possible destructive devices are not able to be made by terror groups that intend to threat people with their acts. Proper disposal of radioactive materials will help with the fight against terror, making sure that people are using materials to produce illegal arms. Some of the investigative work that was performed at the Oklahoma bombing site included the proper procedures for bomb scene investigation. The procedures of bomb scene investigation start with the collection of fragments left on the crime scene. Looking for an explosive device is a tedious job. Some of the fragments you might want to look for are piping, cables, blasting caps, wads such as C4, dynamite, and TNT. In some cases, you may find gunpowder as an igniter for bombs. An explosion or point of impact will most commonly be in the area that has the most destruction. You will find a black bang residue on the ground that leaves a clear open area where the exploding device, bomb, or peripheral was placed. Finding residue is important to solving the case because once the fragments and residue are found, you can analyze what type of explosive device the asylum used. Military weapons of mass destruction can be mortar rounds, sheet explosives, 40mm rounds with white phosphorus, and other remote and timing devices found on the scene. Try to identify the military round by its nomenclature and DOTIC, Department of Defense Identification Code. The DOTIC may be present on the fragments and able to be traced to a weapon. Research. Read to learn more.